it's 73 feet.
Now, here are your hosts, Patrick Harris and Joe Fisher on 1080 The Fan.
Welcome into the hot corner for it must be a Tuesday, but baby, you know it's always a Tuesday around here. Patrick Harris with you, Joe Fisher to my left.
Let's go.
Schultze on the ones and twos.
Merry
Hello,
Christmas.
friends.
What up? How we
Hello,
doing?
friends.
I guess I missed the memo.
Hap-
Whoa, what are you doing over there? Get it together.
Dude, I don't understand it. Like, the YouTube pops up and wants to play audio every time. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I missed the memo. The Jack in the
JB?
Box. The
JB
Jack in the
memo?
Box memo.
Oh, yeah, I got some too.
Sometimes it's got to happen.
Long
Well,
day.
it's just right there. You're coming off. You're like, man,
I'll take the scraps. You know,
Give me a
if there's,
burger.
you know.
Schultze, what'd you grab?
JB Cheese, Junior Bacon Cheeseburgers.
Patrick
and
did too. It's a
and
good
curly
go-to.
fry.
And a curly fry. I'm
sir.
2 tacos and a JBC.
There you go. Okay, so
Yeah.
you keep it cheap. You try to order from the value menu. You
Oh,
can get it in and out
$5.
for under $10, baby.
$5.
I have to say that the Jack in the Box taco, I don't think it's something I've ever consumed in my life, and I think it is quite possibly one of the worst aesthetically, optically pleasing looking fast food items I've ever laid eyes on.
Oh, it's terrible. I believe it. I believe
Looks nothing like the picture.
the taco is at some point in its life deep fried 3 times.
It might be like a leftover taco that they have like
It's
from
like
a couple days
Thanksgiving.
ago that they just throw back in the fryer and
JB had a Thanksgiving like 10 years ago, and they just had so much leftover taco that's why it's 2 for $1.50.
the other thing it reminds me of is Carl's Jr. It seems like whenever you get a chicken sandwich from them,
all over the place, it doesn't belong in your mouth.
it's a good burger.
That's what she said.
It's a good burger.
Western bacon.
It seems like
Oh, yeah.
some of their
Also looks like crap. when you
their
get
bacon
it.
is not good. Yeah, I
Well,
will
and
say
it just like it like looks awesome on TV, and then like about this. If you're on YouTube, you can see it's about this big, and then you get it, and it's about that big.
this is what I'm getting to is that it looks like whenever they're done making the burger and they wrap it up, they just elbow drop it real quick a couple times.
They're
and
like
then
F
put it-
Joe Fisher.
Dude, I swear to God, like you literally have like imprints on the bun of where someone just punched it and just like totally laid into it. It's I don't know what they're doing to the poor sandwiches back there.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. But we're here. I come bearing great news, my friends.
Ooh.
Oh,
I
God.
come bearing amazing news for you.
Yeah, you were teasing me before the show started. I'm intrigued.
We're
Tickle me fancy.
We're putting up a bunch of Christmas lights in the house. We're decorating the tree. We're putting a bunch of our Christmas decorations out in the house. But I realized because we had so much S all over the place, I needed to do some cleaning. So I started to do some cleaning, and then I get to the table right at the entry table. Okay, so right when you walk in the front door of the house,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm kind of cleaning up around there, and I look behind it, and I find my microphone condom and
Your headphones.
my headphones
Boom.
Wow.
that I've had on this show since day one.
Cheers to that.
Oh,
So it just slipped
geez.
into the crevasses.
It was just right
Of the
there. It was
entryway.
behind a flower pot.
Those-
And I have no idea why it'd be there.
Those pesky flower pots, man.
But I found it. It was the condom with my headphones wrapped up inside with the adapter.
And the angels sing from above.
And they went, oh.
Oh, sing above.
And here we are. Here we are.
So
And
did you cross off the headphones from your Christmas list? then?
I did not. I
You're
did
like,
not.
I'll
I'm
still
still
take those.
hoping somebody gets me those.
I'll still take
And-
those cans.
And when they do, when I get those cans, that will be the opening segment of that show.
Well,
Now,
congratulations.
it might be this year. It might be next year. Spoiler alert, because we're off on a few Tuesdays.
Yes.
But it could also be 2026.
Oh,
we don't know.
We get back-to-back Tuesdays off.
We do.
Yeah, this is one of those weird calendar years where Christmas falls on a Wednesday and New Year's falls on a Wednesday.
Mhm.
So it's basically 2 straight weeks of nobody wanting to do anything
Yeah.
work-wise.
You know what pisses me off big time is at my normal job, at my 9 to 5, I already have Wednesday off.
Right.
So this year for Christmas Day and New Year's Day, I'm already off those days.
yeah,
So
you-
no
oh, yeah.
no free days off for me. Christmas Eve, I have to open the pub, and we're gonna do last call at 4:00.
Oh.
So there's no need to have a night person there.
You're not doing a New Year's party at your place of work?
They are. I won't be there. I'm doing a New Year's party at my place of living.
Yeah, no, I meant like your
Christmas
company
Eve.
is your company's not doing we're open.
No,
come
we're
on down.
we're doing a
for
New
the
Year's
ball
Eve
drop.
thing, but Christmas Eve we close at 4. So I will open to close on Christmas Eve. And then it's like, well, at least you got Christmas off,
But
right?
it's
And like,
Christmas Eve, sir.
at least you have Christmas off. And it's like, well, it's a Wednesday. I always have Christmas off, for it must be a Wednesday.
Lines up perfectly, doesn't it? It makes you feel better. I had to work one Christmas Eve, 12-hour shift at a retirement home.
Dude, they're listening.
So not fun.
Jack in the Box commercial.
JB. And then I had a conversation with my boss the other day, and I was like, yo, Super Bowl Sunday. Factoid to give you, to borrow from our brothers in the morning. A drinking factoid to share with you. The slowest drinking day of the year at restaurants and bars is Super Bowl Sunday.
Makes
Because
sense.
everybody's at home.
Because everybody's at parties. So I said to my boss, I said, hey, why don't we do Christmas Eve treatment and close at 4 on Super Bowl Sunday? I'll open, I'll do the thing, we close at 4, I can probably get out of there by halftime and get to a party and watch the rest of the game. She goes, oh no, we'll be open.
She shot that down real quickly.
Which is actually kind of a benefit, because at about, my replacement will come in at 3 o'clock and I will leave at 3:01.
Oh, there you go. A little bit earlier then.
But I was trying to say, hey, we don't need to do this. Jordan, that's what you were saying. You've worked Christmas Eve, Christmas days, stuff like that. I have worked probably 3 or 4 Super Bowl Sundays,
Oof.
and it's the worst shift possible. Not because people are bad, but because you have nothing to do.
I've worked this-
Niners,
Ugh.
Chiefs, first time, I worked that Super Bowl Sunday.
I've worked.
I watched that whole Super Bowl on TV, and I got to watch the comeback from Mahomes, and I sat there for 20 minutes, and nobody asked for anything from me. And I was the bartender.
I've worked a couple Super Bowls before, and I always worked in retail. So it was definitely a few of them were like, all right, everybody back to work. Like as things are happening.
Yeah.
I remember specifically working the Cardinals Steelers Super Bowl.
Oh, yes.
And this is when I was in
James Harrison.
Kurt Warner for the
uh,
Cardinals.
Who's got the Santonio Holmes?
Yes.
Has the big touchdown at the end.
Yes. So I remember I was in high school working at Safeway. So like in between me taking going and getting carts and bringing them back in, I'd sneak into the break room and try and catch a couple plays. I was pissed that day. That was super annoying.
I will give you one of the saddest Super Bowl Sunday stories. Same retirement home I had to work at on Super Bowl Sunday. I believe it was Super Bowl 40, so that was Ben Roethlisberger's first win with the Steelers. I listened,
Over the sea bags.
Yeah, exactly. I listened to that one on the radio, and I had to serve drinks to old people while I snuck listening to it on the radio. It was the worst Super Bowl Sunday ever.
Well, the olds are watching. You know the olds are watching.
Actually, none of them were.
But it's on.
I like the colors.
They didn't have a TV with it on out there, man.
I
They
like
just,
the
They had
commercials.
the dining room with nothing set up.
I went to high school with Chuck Knoll.
He was such a sweet boy.
You know, I kissed Tom Landry once. Like, oh, great, lady.
Terry Bradshaw's a jerk. Oakley dokley. Well, let's get away from that. We do got a baseball show for you, and believe it or not, there is a lot going down in baseball. This is a really great time for us.
Yeah, this was one of those. I'm telling you, I made the sacrifice to not go to my son's band recital,
Yeah,
so that way I could come and do this show tonight.
man of the people.
They played 2 songs.
Man of the people.
He is
Joe
in-
Fisher, the third.
He is in beginning band. They played, I think it was called
Smoke on the Water.
Christmas Rock,
Ooh.
which is what he described me basically like just the first couple parts of every Christmas song
Wonderful.
all smashed into one.
They're all in the key of C.
So like he told me, he's like, I can play Jingle Bells. I was like, you can? He's like, well, yeah. So
Yeah, so it goes doot 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 doot.
and that's it.
Yeah,
That's
it.
all they play, and then it's on to the
There's like
next
5
one.
notes there.
And so I called him out. I was like, you can't play Jingle Bells. And he's like, yeah, I can't. Well, I can play that first part. I'm like, that's not playing Jingle Bells, bro. I was like, if you can play Jingle Bells, you can do all of it. And he was not too happy that I called out that very
just
specific
poo-pooed
detail.
all over his hardworking
his,
effort.
his trumpet skills. You can't play trumpet, bro.
Well, there's a lot to get into as free agency is getting wild and trades, etc. Plus, we'll have fair foul at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. We come back. The biggest story in baseball is clearly, why are the Cleveland Guardians trading a 3-time All-Star at second base to the Toronto Blue Jays? 2 hours of coverage of that next. This is the Hot Corner, Portland Sports Leader, Today the Fan.
It's time for 1080 The Fan.
.718 Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it. We are live from the shadows of the historic Fremont Bridge.
We'll do it live.
There is the Vancouver text line, 503-864-6326. That bad boy lets you interact with us throughout the entire show. We're also on YouTube at 1080 AM The Fan. You can find us there, plus the wonderful, amazing, I used it this morning, actually, Odyssey app.
I didn't use it this morning. Wait, no. I did. I did use it this morning.
I've been listening to Christmas music even on the Odyssey app.
Oh, how about that?
I'm a Sirius user. So my Christmas music in the car is either the playlist I have on Spotify or the Sirius, but I listen to the boys in the morning on my way to work.
Did you hear their chipmunk voices on the YouTube stream by chance?
No, I did not.
There was something going wrong with the YouTube stream, so it pitched up their voices extremely high.
Well, and it's funny because they're both sick.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're both, because you don't listen every morning like I do.
Well, I didn't hear anything about them being sick. I heard about the YouTube
They got
stream.
They got doorknob lickers at home.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Dirt's
Teddy ball game
he's still
is
a
like
baby,
but he's like, he sees a doorknob and he's like, I want to lick that.
But also, babies are gross, and they're throwing up and pooping and sneezing and coughing, and they're gross. Adorable, but gross. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Like, their voices for some reason were super high pitched. They sounded like the Alvin and the Chipmunks song, the Christmas time.
I might have to check that out. So as we led up into this, Andreas Jimenez was traded to the Toronto Blue Jays
Patrick.
and signed a 15-year contract worth $765 million.
Him too.
For a second baseman.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Toronto wanted a guy. They got a guy.
Who knew? It flew under the radar.
Three-time All-Star.
Yeah.
765.
I must have missed that.
That's
I felt like there was maybe some other big news that might have happened that overshadowed that signing.
That's where we start. The New York Mets, the Juan Soto sweepstakes have ended. And before we really get into this, I kind of, there's a lot to kind of unpackage from this whole situation. I kind of want to start with this. I am so happy that we sit here on December 10th and Juan Soto has signed.
Yes, me too.
That is so big because the domino effect of Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, we saw Max Fried sign today. We'll get to that later. But Corbin Burns and Walker Buehler, like, the market is kind of, we wait for it every single year. It's like, well, nobody's going to sign till Shohei signs because I got to know what he's worth. And then I'll try to convince someone that I am a percentage of blah, 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 all that garbage. But it's done. Soto's a Met. And I, for one, for the sake of this show and just as a baseball fan, I'm very happy this deal got signed. But I'm a little surprised it got signed as fast as it did.
Yeah, that did catch me off guard. I mean, I thought we were going to be getting into that at least the new year and possibly even like early February. Like, I didn't think we were going to get into, what we did last year with some of the guys signing in spring training and
Snell, things like that.
Yeah, but I didn't think we were going to be getting it at this point, this early. And, but thank God, because we're a month removed from the World Series. We just had awards, so I mean we're keeping the baseball train going. Choo choo.
And I think this is a great thing because, look, we're in the heart of the NFL. College football playoff bracket is out. If you're a sports fan that kind of watches everything and dabbles into everything, this is the time of year where baseball has always failed. In terms of the 24-hour news cycle. This is where baseball has always missed a chance. They say, remember when A-Rod signed with the Reds or was getting traded to the Red Sox, but that deal fell through and he got traded to the Yankees, but it was during the World Series, and Major League Baseball was so mad about that. They were so mad. You're taking away from the World Series. Well, it's like Earth to you. The 03 World Series was kind of not fun.
Was that the Astros White Sox? Or...
That's 04. That's 05. 03 is the Yankees losing to the Marlins.
Was that 03?
Maybe it's the 02
I think that was 02.
because A-Rod played in that World Series in
I don't-
03.
God.
Either way, baseball was so mad.
Who
when
was
that,
winning? What is occurring?
Baseball was so mad when that trade went down because they were like, "You're taking away from the Fall Classic." And people want to talk about this trade instead of the game that's going on in hand.
Are you talking about the opt-out?
No, I'm talking when A-Rod got traded from the Rangers to the Yankees.
Okay, because I remember he literally opted out in the middle of a World Series as well.
Yes, he's done that as
It's
well.
like he is always the story stealer.
And baseball is always kind of like, you can't do this. You got to stop. That's why we don't tell you the awards until the postseason's over. And that's just a bunch of garbage. But as baseball gets quote unquote dormant for now, and the NFL takes full force, and college football is winding up, and the NBA starting up, and the NHL starting up, EPL is hot right now. I'm just saying. If you're not watching EPL, Champions League, it's really good right now. This is an opportunity for baseball to kind of shoehorn themselves into this. I heard the boys talk about it this morning. I've heard Dan Patrick talk about it. I've heard Colin Cowherd talk about it. I've heard Isaac and Suk talking about it. This is a good thing for baseball. We'll get into the contract details and if this is a good deal. But what I'm saying is, and that's what I'm kind of leading with, is that Soto signing now is getting eyes on baseball instead of forgetting that baseball's around until March comes.
Well, what's funny is you saying like, oh, all these shows we're talking about. I remember you bringing that up last week, and it was because of Rob Manfred's dumb idea of the golden batter. And it was like, right, all these shows are talking about it, but for the wrong reason because
Right.
it's a stupid idea.
You're an idiot.
And now this with Juan Soto, it's like all these shows are talking about it because it's amazing and it's the biggest contract in sports history. And it's what's the word? It's polarizing. It grabs your attention. I mean, you then start thinking and like, all right, what do the Mets look like? What do the Yankees look like? What does the rest of the free agency look like? Why did he get so much more money than Shohei? Like, what is he going to look like at 41? There's so many things that come out of this rather than a stupid story that Rob Manfred wants to change another rule.
But what I would say about that stupid story is, you know what everybody talked about today, locally and nationally, our people here and the people out in the ethers, they all talked about blocked punts today. Like, you really want to break down some blocked punts?
Hey, it was a
Now, I know there's
pivotal
NFL,
moment in the game,
I know it was
right?
a pivotal moment, and there's NFL junkies.
Between
that,
two teams under 500.
I'm not saying that that's not a topic we're talking about. That's not what I mean. But that is so niche and so minute and so not important, and everyone talked about it. And baseball could use a little bit of that, even if it is this stupid rule that Manfred floated out, who has since said that's not coming to baseball. But it got people talking about baseball. And Soto
I
is
was
doing the
kidding.
same thing a week cycle later.
Well, it's going to have to be those stupid stories or dumb ideas about rules that are never going to
The
take
NFL
place.
does it for eight months a year.
No, I hear you, but what I'm saying is we are so lucky in the world right now of baseball that this year you've got a $700+ million free agent signing. Last year, you had the best baseball player possibly ever signing a free agent contract.
Babe
We're not
Ruth's
gonna-
alive.
We're not going to have
Sorry, bad
$700
joke.
million. You're fine. We're not going to have $700 million guys, signing every season. This is obviously like not the rule. It's the exception to the rule. And baseball, I mean, I'm kind of sick. I listen to hot stove coverage on Sirius XM. I'm all about
Oh, me too, man. I'm with you. I'm a junkie, dude.
Yeah.
This is my life.
like Jerry DiPoto, Mariners GM or president, was on, doing an interview at 1 p.m. yesterday. I'm like, okay, gotta listen.
Yep,
This is
click.
appointment radio for me. And then there were two other teams GMs that I had to stick around and listen to because I need to know the intricacies, but not everybody else is going to do that. And I'm not sure what else is going to draw people besides flashy numbers.
And that's what makes baseball a little niche in what you're saying of like, I want to hear DePoto talk about my team.
Yeah.
Or I want to hear, Cashman talk about the Yankees because that's my team, or I hate them, or they're the big player, et cetera, et cetera. But I think again, getting back to what I'm saying, Soto signing now is a great thing for baseball. I wish Max could have waited a week and we could have kept this kind of train going, but that's how you kind of start. Baseball in 2024, baseball 23 and 24 has had a significant boost in the mainstream. And these are the kind of little things we need to push this game to keep up with the haves. Because we're a little have-not, if we're being honest. Like, let's look in the mirror and say, as much as we love baseball, not everybody does. This is our chance to be more of the have and less of the have-not.
Well, yeah, you're right that it's a good thing for baseball, but I feel like once time wears off and this season starts back up, it still very much is like, is this really going to draw in the casual fan? Like, oh boy, this guy signed for that big $765 million contract. I got to see what this is all about.
Maybe not, but remember, like when it's June, when it's July, there's no draft, there's no off-season camps. Like, you've seen what ESPN puts out when they want to talk about NFL. It is grasping at straws. Now, yes, people still consume it because they're idiots and addicts, but it's not good coverage. And maybe this will show that when baseball goes dormant for a little bit in January and most of February, that's okay. That maybe it disappears for a minute, and once it comes back, it's like, ooh, baseball, let's go.
Yeah.
Right, Soto, Fried, Shohei, blah, blah, blah.
Well, and that's where I kind of like look at last offseason versus this season. It's like the way that it was dragged out with Shohei was one of those like at the time kind of annoying.
It's like a decision.
But also,
it's a LeBron decision situation.
But also, like, you dragged it out over a few months, and you made it a talking point for a while, like trying to have people guess where he was going to go. And now you might have this lull with baseball in the off season, unless there is a trickle over the holidays in January, and then we get into February. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird how these two off seasons, like, crazy things have happened with Shohei, the biggest player in the world, signing, and then you have the biggest contract in the world being signed in back-to-back off seasons. I think that is, very intriguing for non-baseball fans. But I worry that, the shine is gonna come off, I guess, and once we get into mid-January, February, and nothing's happening, maybe we get a signee here, signee there. That's the thing with football, man, is like you want to talk about grasping straws, even NBA in a sense, like their off season, crazy random stuff happens.
Yeah. How do we get Giannis to New York?
That they can keep the story engaged. And while this is going to help for a bit, it's also like, how do you keep it going and build excitement so that way people are ready and just frothing and foaming and waiting for late March, April to get here.
Well, let's take the shine that's going on right now and let's get into this Juan Soto contract, the biggest contract signed in the history of North American sports, definitely in the history of baseball, but yeah, the biggest thing we've seen. Let's break it down. Let's look at it. There's a lot to get into with this. We'll do all that next, but first I'll throw it to Schultze with sports.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, good news for the Portland Trail Blazers. The team has cleared rookie center Donovan Clingan to return to full basketball activities. The 7th overall pick missed the last 2 weeks with a grade 2 MCL sprain. He's now listed as day-to-day. Speaking of the association, the NBA Cup quarterfinals happening right now. About 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. OKC at home leading the Dallas Mavericks 55-49. So far, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading the way with 16 points. Earlier tonight, the Bucks over the Magic 114-109 in Milwaukee. Giannis Antetokounmpo 37 points to lead the way. Former Blazer Damian Lillard following it up with 28. In college football, Oregon's Dan Lanning named one of the 9 finalists for the Eddie Robinson of the Year Award, Coach of the Year Award. Linebacker Bryce Betcher has won the Burlsworth Award. That's given to the best senior who started their career as a walk-on. Also, Ducks quarterback Dylan Gabriel accepted an invitation to the Senior Bowl. And in baseball, the New York Yankees signed starting pitcher Max Fried to an 8-year, $218 million contract. That's the largest ever deal given to a lefty. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new long-sleeve tee and hoodies in your favorite college colors. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com. This is the Hot Corner with Patrick Harris and Joe Fisher on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Coming up at the 8 o'clock hour, we'll dive into some other stuff. The Yankees get an ace. There's a team in the top 5 of the draft that nobody saw coming.
Woo!
When your decimal percentage is a larger number than the pick you got,
And I'll tell you why I hate it.
you're doing okay.
But I'll tell you why I hate that.
Of course you hate that.
Yeah.
But there's a good reason for it, and I think when you hear
Is
me
Dustin
explain-
Ackley on the board?
No, but Jeff Clement could be. Wait.
Excuse me, sorry. So we'll get to a lot, plus fair or foul at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. But let's get into this Juan Soto contract, all right? Let's sit here. 15 years.
No, because it makes me depressed
What?
that I didn't start playing baseball at the age of 6 months old.
I tell people all the time, you got a kid, they athletic, golf or baseball.
Yeah, it's easier on the body.
These days, basketball, they are guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, but then
you can't sign the 15-year.
But then you got bone on bone knees, and your fingers are going 8 different ways, and don't risk it.
Baseball or golf?
I mean,
Tennis pays well too.
baseball. I mean, unless you're getting a deal from the Saudis in golf, then
What up?
you know.
But some people are.
I know that's what I'm saying. Then that's a real game changer.
But we sit here in baseball. Juan Soto has signed with the New York Mets, 15-year contract worth $765 million. That breaks down, I believe, to $51 million a year. Here are some of the
And a private suite.
and a private suite, which apparently was a big deal. Apparently was a huge deal.
I love that.
Like there I get my phone buzzes and I'm reading these articles and I'm listening to, the bigwigs of baseball media talking that Juan Soto was never going to go back to the Yankees because the security guard one time was mean to his family.
Shut up.
So apparently this private suite, which I have seen the breakdown of what it costs, is a big deal. And Cohen's just like, yeah, I don't care. Give them a suite? Cool.
Sure.
The hell do I care
Give
about
him an
that?
office, an apartment in the stadium. Why not?
Yeah, give him the Russell Wilson in Denver treatment. Like,
At
let him
this
do whatever
point,
the
yeah.
hell he wants.
I saw a good tweet where someone was like, "That is like a straight up George Costanza Seinfeld moment of
Without
like
a doubt.
that he was the security guard that kicked out Soto's parents from a certain
The
section."
security guard was sick, so they sent Costanza down there. They were like, dude, just don't mess this up. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
And he took his job a
but,
little too seriously that
Soto's
day.
mom like spilt something on the ground and didn't
You
clean
gotta
it up.
go.
And Costanza was like, you gotta go.
You're
Living
outta
in a
here.
society.
But yes, do not forget the suite. Damn it.
Yes, don't forget the suite. But some other interesting things to get into. There's the opt-out after the 2029 season.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this is that is there in case it is a protection. This is such a Boris thing. It is a protection in case the value of players goes up, and Soto at $51 million has seemed like a steal.
God.
So he could renegotiate to make 75 a year or something.
Well,
To quote Kramer from Seinfeld, why don't you tell me what movie you want to see?
I think that you have is that the CBS article?
I do,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it talks about it in there where, basically after that opt out period, the Mets can then raise his per year salary by $4 million on the last 10 years, which would then bring the total amount of the contract to over $800 million
Correct.
at that point.
Correct. So that's part of it, which I think is interesting. I mean, I kind of like that. You see guys that have that opt out because either A, the team is going to be garbage by then and they want to bounce, or they want to renegotiate. I mean, A-Rod signed 2 $250 million contracts in his time. Now, they didn't see the full length of all that, but he was able to opt out of his 10-year 250 and signed another 8-year 270 with the Yankees. So that's the protection. That's the market value protection. But also, if I'm Soto, I'm also thinking about this what if the Mets aren't good in 5 years? What if this is the window now? You know, like there's a lot of different angles of protection there.
But there's also part of me that, I mean, that will be 31-year-old Juan Soto. And I mean, again, you can't predict the future. You can't predict what a player's going to look like the rest of their career in 5 years, whatever. It's like, if I'm him, I'm just be like, yeah, add that extra $4 million per year and I'll stay. And now I'm going to get, because I want to say the first 5 years he gets $305 million.
I was just looking at it. Hold up. Yep, 305 over the first 5 seasons.
In the last 10.
That figure does include the signing bonus
of
$75 million.
And then the last
wow.
The last 10 years, so from the ages of 31 to 41, 10 years, $460 million. And then again, the Mets.
That's Mike Trout's contract.
And then from 31 to 41.
That's Mike Trout's contract now.
Yeah.
Is $460 million.
And then
Mookie's not shy of that either.
And then again, the Mets can add an extra $40 million on top of that for the last 10 years. So then you're making $500 million from the ages of 31 to 41. Like, something tells me that even at that point in time, I don't know. I don't know what the dollar's going to look like in 5 years, but something tells me there ain't going to be a team that's going to want to give him 10 years, $500 million at the age of 31.
Yeah.
I could be crazy, but who knows? Maybe he's hitting 60 home runs and has 160 RBIs every season up until that point. Then we can talk. But something tells me that he's probably just going to stay with the Mets for that 10 years and get the extra $500 million.
And we'll get into what Soto looks like on the Mets for 15 years. But the last part of this contract, that
I think year 9 is going to be a little shaky.
There is a little bit before we get to that, just to finish up contract talk. I think the most intriguing thing about this whole contract is that there's no deferred money.
That was one of the things I wanted to know right away too.
Remember, we're all assuming it's this Dodger model. Maybe the rest of baseball doesn't agree with it.
Well, this is where
maybe players don't agree with it.
This is where I think Cohen, going to what I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, is that he was willing to do anything Juan Soto wanted to make this deal happen.
But the Yankees weren't going to defer money.
Yeah,
that's
but also,
the report I heard.
But
was
also,
that the Yankees weren't going to defer money.
They weren't going to give him this amount.
No,
so that's where it's like, we'll give you the amount you want. We'll give you the years you want. We're not going to defer any of it. We'll give you a suite. Like literally,
sweet is the big deal here.
Check all of the boxes. Like, and that's where I think the Mets. Again, you're right. Where the Yankees, if they weren't going to defer anything, that's where they were even there. But
I just think that it's interesting that we've talked on this show for a year now, since Shohei has signed, about the terrifying idea about money deferred and how teams like big player teams like, I would say, the Rangers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Red Sox, the Cubs should be, the Giants, the Padres, and the Dodgers. Okay, so that's 8 teams that have the capital to do what the Dodgers are doing. And the fact that Juan Soto is not getting that from the Mets kind of changes my thought on that whole deferred money thing. Maybe this is just a Dodger thing. Maybe Steve Cohen and his accountants and his money people outside of baseball are saying, hey, man, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. That's what makes me wonder, especially because the Blue Jays weren't going to defer money. The Yankees weren't going to defer money. The fact that this is the classic case, just like Shohei last year, to defer money, that nobody wants to do that maybe we were scared about something that's not real.
Did I miss, like, were there numbers that came at 16 years, 760 was the offer that the Yankees had on the table?
That's the Yankee offer.
Yeah.
16, 760, so it was an extra year.
With $5 million less. So it
with
was
$5 million less.
I'm trying to do quick math, which is
and
a dangerous
Cashman
thing.
came out and said we were already uncomfortable making that offer.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Somebody could get hurt. Could be Mike Trout. I'm not saying he's gonna be, but
right.
he literally has the best vision of a strike zone, I think, of any player in history. But
and Jordan, I love that you say that, because that's where I want to get into next. Like, that's what the contract is.
47.5 a year is what that is.
That's what the contract is. Okay. Let's talk about the value of this contract. Let's talk about Juan Soto. Okay. Everybody wants to talk about how much money he's got, no deferral, the signing bonus in the Mets, Steve Cohen. Let's talk about Juan Soto as the player. And is this a good investment? We'll do that next. Hot Corner, 10A The Fan.
Oregon Ducks football. This is the Hot Corner with Patrick Harris and Joe Fisher on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Coming up on the second hour of the Hot Corner, got fair or foul at the bottom. Yankees get a new ace, not named Juan Soto. He can't pitch, yet somehow makes more money than a guy who might be a better player than him and can pitch.
But 5 years longer. That's
That
big
is
difference.
true. That is true.
We can break it
We
down.
got to remember this. Like, it's like, he makes more money than Shohei Ohtani?
No, he doesn't.
Shohei Ohtani is getting that in 5 less years.
AAV is
Actually, he's-
70 to what, 51?
Shohei's getting it in like 15 more years
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
when we think about it.
Yeah. So no. Okay. Let's make sure we get rid of this thought. Juan Soto does not make more money than Shohei
The
Ohtani.
joke's going to be on us when he starts walking towards that mound on opening day and takes the bump.
Juan Soto's got 14 Ks on opening day.
Oh
8
my
innings.
God!
I learned a fastball and I learned a splitter. Like, holy S.
Yeah,
But why? Someone tell me why, damn it!
yeah. This goes in the face of this current segment, right? Is it worth it? Hell yeah, it's worth it. Dude's gonna be throwing flames, nasty breakers.
Could you imagine just once he comes in and he throws like 90 miles an hour? Then the speculation would begin on Sports Center, like, maybe Juan Soto could become a closer. It's the idiocy that we live in of the world.
But let's get into this. 15 years of Juan Soto. He's 26 right now. Like, let's be real here. The value of this contract is based on his age. Okay? The kid's been in the league for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years already. He's been in 9 seasons in baseball already.
That's wild.
And he's 26.
Time flies, man.
In 2018, he finished second for Rookie of the Year and won a World Series. No, sorry, in 19, won a World Series. He has an over 400 on-base percentage every year of his career.
Every year?
Every year. The
Over-
exception is in 2022, for the Nationals, he had a 408 on-base percentage. He was traded to the Padres, where he had a 388 while on the Padres. So if you do that math, he might still be an over 400 on-base percentage every single season. There is no doubt about it. We talk about this. We did it through the World Series. We said if the Yankees have any shot at being the Dodgers, it's not just Aaron Judge, it's that Juan Soto might have the best eyeballs in the game of baseball. He doesn't strike out. He takes a ton of walks. He might be in the conversation of the top 3 best pure hitters. Not best player, but pure hitters. This contract is built because he's 26. They had to throw on 15 years to get him to stay. Otherwise, a 10-year deal would have been money. Because the last thing I want to do is pay $50 million a year for Juan Soto at 40. We've seen this with Pujols. We've seen it with A-Rod. Even Cano was 34 and making too much money.
He stopped taking steroids. Come on,
That
that's
is
the
also
only
true.
reason.
I was about to say something and I stopped myself and I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe his eyes won't get worse with age.
Won't degenerate?
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on a second. What usually happens with age?
Yeah,
Your
I'm really
eyes
excited to get in
worse?
my car and drive home at 39.
and not
I
being
forgot
able
my
to
glasses
see.
at home.
Hey,
Yeah.
to defend that point, guys,
The old one eye and I'm sober.
Edgar Martinez, who was going blind and had like a actual vision impairment, like was able still to his early 40s, 41, 42, be a legitimate hitter in the major leagues. He was an all-time talent, but so is Juan Soto. So don't worry about that kind of crap.
Let's play a little fun fair or foul here. Fair or foul, this contract is a great move for the Mets.
Ooh, it's funny. It's been since Sunday this contract was signed. I have yet to ask myself that question. My initial reaction, gut reaction,
I've heard a bunch of people say their opinions, but I'm with you. I haven't really asked mine either.
like my gut reaction is no. I mean, you just the last 5 years of this contract from 36 to 41. I mean,
But what if 26 to 36 is 3 titles?
then yeah, it's worth it. I mean, to me, that's something the Mets have never experienced. What investment paid off for sure. And then at that point, it's like, whatever he gives us the last 5 years, who cares? He gave us 3 World Series titles, but baseball is not a one-man sport.
Mm-mm.
It's not. It's, we have NBA on the TV right now. That is where one dude can change the trajectory of your
really?
franchise.
I'm watching Wheel of Fortune. One dude can change his trajectory
Ryan
on Wheel of
Seacrest.
Fortune.
Yeah, for sure. You end up on that bankrupt, buddy. You're done for the night.
Stop
Adios.
buying vowels.
Yeah.
Stop buying vowels on Wheel of Fortune. Anyways.
But again, like NBA, one dude can change the trajectory of your
Truth.
franchise,
Truth.
right? NFL, one position can change the trajectory
Correct.
of your franchise.
Unless you're Joe Burrow.
Yeah, exactly. Then you
Then
need
you're
a
hosed.
defense.
Then
right?
you're hosed. Yeah.
Whereas baseball, it's like, I love the game. I love everything about it. But that's what kills me with some of these contracts. It's like, this dude's going to show up once every hour at the plate.
Shohei is not the reason the Dodgers won the World Series.
No.
He's part of it, but not the reason.
And also, you want to talk about the value and what you're getting for the player. Yeah, you're getting one of the best eyes in baseball at the dish of all time. But also, his fielding, him being nominated, we've talked about this. Him being
Yeah.
nominated for a Gold Glove this year is
An
laughable.
absolute joke.
Like,
I
and he's gonna have to play the field if you're paying him this money.
Andy Johnson said it this morning. He said he's a C+ defender at best. And I looked in, I was like, Andy, I know you're a baseball guy. That's a bad take. He's a D+ at best. He's not necessarily a liability, but he ain't Mookie out there.
I want to go.
know.
I don't think I'm kind of in the wheelhouse. Like you're getting a passing grade, but you're barely there. Bud.
But you're barely there.
C's
buddy.
get degrees, and C's get $765 million contracts if you are an A+ at the dish.
Now, what I will say to be kind of a counter as to why he might be worth this is I think it's all based on the Mets. I think it's looking at that team. Now, the polar bear is a big kind of elephant in the room. But let's pretend that Pete Alonso is signed or he's still in arbitration, he's still a kid or something like that. There is nobody on the market that will push the Mets to where they want to be more than Juan Soto. I don't think so. I think they need arms.
Yeah,
I
they
definitely
still do.
think they need arms, whether it's Walker Buehler or Corbin Burns or, whatever kind of
Are you really gonna? Are you really
Max
gonna
Fried or whatever.
commit $1 billion between two players?
I mean, the Dodgers just did it, so but that's beside the point. But what I'm saying is that the Mets were close, not this close, but they were close to getting to a World Series. And if the Mets would have gone to the World Series, I think they'd have smoked the Yankees too. So now you're looking at how do I get past the Dodgers, and they needed a bat that was of this caliber because Frankie had a great year and Alonso was awesome in the playoffs, but it just wasn't enough. They needed somebody. Did you overpay for Juan Soto? Probably. But there's no team in baseball that needed Juan Soto outside of the Yankees more than the Mets did, which
Yeah.
is why the Dodgers were out. They were like, yo, this doesn't make sense to us.
But again, this is where, I mean, kind of like what the Dodgers ran into last year, in a sense, is that they had some pitching issues throughout the year as far as health goes. And that's
Glass now down, Yamamoto down.
and that's where I think they're going to get their money's worth from Soto for the next 7 to 9 years.
I agree.
I think he will be definitely worth the investment. It's just a matter of what are you going to be able to put around him, especially on the pitching side of things. Because right
Given
now,
how
I mean,
much
like,
money you're spending.
well, yeah, and also like we said in the playoffs with the Mets, it's like, how much longer are you going to get away with throwing Sean Manaea out there and Severino?
Your best pitchers this year aren't going to pitch for you next year.
No. And who did they sign and bring back in just this offseason?
Well, they just got Holmes from the Yankees.
That's true. They did. And
They got the kid from Milwaukee.
that's an interesting name. Never heard of him before. And also I saw some rumors that they might want to make Clay Holmes a starter.
Yeah, they want to make Clay Holmes a starter.
Like that was before
Frankie
this.
Montas,
That's right.
who is Sean Manaea.
A little bit better, I would say.
Okay,
A little bit better. But
so like a B- to a B.
I was seeing that about Clay Holmes.
Yeah, they want to make him a starter.
That before he even signed with the Mets, teams were talking about wanting to make him a starter. And so I guess that's where you're going there. And he can go through the lineup twice and you better pull him. Like, I don't know. That's a weird move
But-
as
but
far
I-
as making him a starter.
I
but
think to your point, Joe, I think what you're trying to say is like the money you've tied up with Soto. Where else can you put it?
at what
Because
point
they're
does
out on Fried, obviously, because he just signed.
well, at what point does
But it sounds like they're out on Burns
he better go back to the Baltimore?
because
Orioles.
Burns is going to probably make a similar deal to what Fried just signed,
Yeah.
which we'll get into in a moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, where's your money?
And at what point does
And are you going to be able to sign Pete?
what point does Cohen actually start being like, I don't know if I want to do that deal? Because it seems like the last he's been the owner for
2 years, 3 years.
Gosh, it seems like 4 or 5 seasons now. I mean, when did that Frankie contract get signed?
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah,
We
I mean,
traded him in like 18.
It was something like that. Yeah. So it's like, at one point does he actually start going like, Instead of, yeah, F it, I'll sign that to be, yeah, F no, I ain't signing that.
Acting like Hal Steinbrenner right now, who's like, yo, we don't spend that kind of money anymore.
In a sense, yeah.
Speaking of Hal Steinbrenner, let's look at what this does to Juan Soto's former team. The news today is interesting. We'll check in on that. But, like, the New York Yankees, where's your heartbeat right now? What's the pulse? You feeling all right?
Have you seen some of the videos from Yankee fans out
there?
there?
Feeling okay? Do you need an adult in the room? We'll get to that next. Loaded second hour, Hot Corner, today the Fan.
Since 1963, dance.
Now you kiss and Chase Utley, and that's it.
Why are you pushing Chase Utley on me? It's starting to get weird.
This is the Hot Corner.
Okay, look, I have a plan, all right? And it involves you getting this letter to him when you get out there to kiss him. Now, I have given this to Major League Baseball, his lawyer, his manager, his mom, and he has not gotten back to me, which means he hasn't gotten it yet. So just...
Did you write a love letter to Chase Utley?
With Patrick Harris and Joe Fisher.
In a lot of ways, yes, I do love him, but that is not a love letter in the way that you're thinking of it, okay? There's nothing sexual or...
Okay, that sounds good.
Pal
I'm
around.
gonna read it.
Yeah, read it.
Dear Chase, oh, they're stickers.
Yeah.
My God.
On the Odyssey app.
Dear Chase, I feel like I can call you Chase because you and me are so much alike. I would love to meet you someday. It would be great to have a catch. I know I can't throw as fast as you, but I think you would be impressed with my speed. Did you have a good relationship with your father? Me neither.
And 1080.
These are all things we can talk about and more. I am sure our relationship would be a real home run.
The Fan.
Welcome in the second hour of the Hot Corner. You're missing the first hour. You could download that at the Fan Podcast at 10thefan.com, the Odyssey app, and wherever you get your podcasts. Vancouver Ford text line. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit vancouverford.com, 503-864-6326. Also, a shout out to the YouTube channel where Jake the Hater has made his presence felt, and he's decided to tell everyone they suck. Bold move, Cotton. Bold move.
What the hell is the meaning of this?
Well, you know, he's going through a rough time. That's what happens when SEC doesn't get favoritism played towards him, and his team loses to Oklahoma 24-3 in embarrassing fashion, and he doesn't get to go to the playoffs.
Y'all didn't know that my brother was a virgin until he was 28, and then roll tide. To this day, one of my favorite ESPN
That's
commercials.
a good, yeah. I was like, at
The
first,
roll tide one, and he's like giving the toast at his wedding, at his brother's
At first, I was
wedding.
like, what is he talking about? I was like, oh, I know exactly what he's
Y'all
talking
didn't know he was a virgin until he was 28, and then
Roll Tide.
roll tide.
So good.
So good.
They
so
need to
good.
bring back the This Is Sports Center commercials.
Those were fantastic.
They need to redo them and just make more modern new ones.
Yeah, they would just be Pat McAfee everywhere. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll do fair or foul as we always do. There's a ton to get to. I'm starting to write notes. I mean, they're like, Joe, I know we're going to miss a couple shows coming up, but man, we actually got a lot to get into. We haven't talked about the A's. You know, they're outspending the Mariners right now. The Angels are trying to put together a team.
The AL West, man, just out of
You know,
nowhere trying to get good.
Like, what does this Juan Soto contract mean for Vladdy Jr.? I saw some rumblings about that. Like, there's so much in baseball.
To keep it on the AL West tangent, the Astros might want to get rid of Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, or, you know, and like, does Bregman walk? Like, the Yankees apparently aren't interested because it doesn't fit in their stadium. But he loves Alex Cora because he cheated with Alex Cora, so maybe he goes to the Red Sox.
Yeah, that
and
sounds
Devers
right.
is moving to first. Like, there's so much to get into, but we are stuck here with Juan Soto, and I want to continue this Juan Soto conversation, but switch it over to his former love. Let's go his former two loves. We can do this real quickly. The San Diego Padres are loving all of this, in my opinion. They traded Juan Soto to the Yankees for their best people. And they've still got him. And they're not paying Juan Soto $765 million.
Now, I may be an idiot. Well, I am. Remind me, who was all in that Soto Padres trade?
Michael King,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
who was amazing in the
Yes, he was.
playoffs.
Yeah, he was great last year.
Like, there is talks that the Padres might be shopping Dylan Cease because they have Michael King.
They're like, we're good.
Okay?
Dylan Cease was good last year, though.
He
I
was
mean,
good.
Hell,
He's very good. Their catcher, what is it?
Kyle Higashioka.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
he's
thank you.
gone. He's signed with somebody else.
But I
yeah.
mean, like, that's what they got. Like,
Trent Grisham was a part of it, whatever. Johnny Brito, which, I mean, we'll see.
because the Padres sent their best guys to the Nationals, Mackenzie Gore being the headliner of that, to get Soto.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the wrong trade.
And now their system is still in a good spot after sending Soto to the Yankees, and they didn't pay $765. So that's them. I think the Padres are going like, whoa. Sorry we didn't do more when we had Soto that year, but whoa, I'm real glad to not be a part of this right now. Number 2 is the New York Yankees. Let's check in. Yankee fans, how you doing? You okay?
No,
Forget about it.
no, they are not forgetting about it. They are pissed.
I think it's interesting. I think it's twofold.
I think they're more so pissed at Soto than they are their own franchise.
I actually disagree. I think they're mad that their franchise won't outspend everyone anymore.
Well, again, like,
I think that's what they're mad about.
I almost don't.
Steve Cohen comes out and says, I will not be outbid. That is not a Steinbrenner mentality.
But also,
The Steinbrenner mentality is like, Cohen, who the hell are you?
yeah,
Nice, cute. Cute little, what, hedge fund? Yeah, cool. Good for you, bud.
literally before I'm about to open my mouth, I then rethink that. I mean, you're right. Like, it is.
That's what any Yankee fan, Joe, that's
When
our
did this
age,
change? Like,
that's
when did
our age or below our age, is only used to them spending high money more than anybody else.
was there like a moment, like was there a specific moment in the last 5, 6, 7 years where this was the Yankees that we know now, or like the league that we know now, where it's like, well, Yankees, there's these franchises that have just as much money as you and aren't afraid to spend it now? I mean, was it the new CBA? Like, was it? I mean, was there a defining moment where it was just like the Yankees are not going to be able to win these battles anymore? Like,
I think it's two things. One, I think when Jeets retires, I think the Yankees had to have that real conversation with themselves that their farm system was depleted. They had too many high contracts on the books, and they needed time to kind of reset. Okay, so they're like, let's not just try to keep this going and sign a bunch of dudes. Let's check our farm system and see if we can develop. Number two is Aaron Judge. They decided that Aaron Judge was their guy.
which I don't blame him for.
I don't blame him for it either. But if you sign Juan Soto, he makes more money than Aaron Judge.
Can I add a third reason too?
Sure.
I do think that the Yankees, they're a little bit of an old guard mentality, and the Steinbrenners do still run things. It's not old George, but I believe it's whichever.
Hal.
Yeah, Hal, thank you. The brother that's still alive. Rest in peace, Hank. But this ain't 1995 anymore when the top paid player in all of baseball was making like, what, $9-10 million? It was easier to be the Yankees then because, yeah, if you wanted to sign 9 guys at like $10 million a year, it's a hell of a lot more, like, I would say acceptable for any bank account, interest-wise, whatever, looking ahead for accountants to be like, yeah, this works, you're going to make the investment back. You can't sign 5-6 guys worth $50 million each. That's just not going to happen. I think Yankees fans are still living in that 95 mentality. We can afford everybody. No, it's 2024. Even the Dodgers can't afford everybody with the deferred salaries that they're offering. Yes, they're going to make the money back, but at some point, you don't have all that money up front. You just don't.
I also think one thing that the Yankees really banked on in the 60s, the 70s, and the 90s was the brand. We kind of see this in the college football playoff right now. Alabama gets left out. Oh, my God, how do you leave Bama out? Well, don't get blown out by Oklahoma. Don't lose to a Vandy team that surprised people, you know? Like, don't be up by 30 on Georgia and barely win that game, you know? I think the reality is we see this in, now that Tom Brady's gone, we see it in the NFL. Well, no, never mind. Mahomes is there. But in the NBA, we see it, and we see it in baseball. Like, look, the Lakers don't win titles every year. The Knicks don't win titles every year. It was the Warriors, and then it's the Bucks, and then it's the whoever, the Heat, then it's the fill in the blank of who the next good team is to win, blah, 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 blah. And baseball's been the same way. It's not been the Yankees every year. It's not been the Red Sox. Teams like Houston can win a World Series. Teams like Texas Rangers can win a World Series. Teams like the Arizona Diamondbacks can show up to the World Series. That I think this mystique of being a Laker, of being a Patriot, of being a Yankee doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it does and doesn't. I think it's just
Where in pinstripes
I think,
is Anthony Rizzo after I've won a World Series and I'm going to go make money? Are the Yankees the MLS of European soccer right now?
well, I think you're right in the sense that the lore of the old Yankees has, diminished. You lose guys like Mariano Rivera, and then you lose Jeter, and you lose some of these old guard players like you guys were mentioning, and now it's just kind of the Yankees. It's just Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole to an extent, but even like just those two guys, like the Judge is a Yankee lifer,
Sure.
earned his pinstripes,
And that's why they chose him, because he's a Yankee.
Cole's
Comes
done
through
it
the
too.
system.
But the Yankees have been built on being dominant teams, dominant franchises of having 3, 4, 5, 6 Hall of Famers at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just don't feel like that. They haven't felt like that for a while. So I guess it is maybe the rest of the league looking at them like, So what? It's the Yankees. Like,
I think that's what I'm saying. I think they're just
Yeah.
like,
I hear you.
like I want to get into this Max Fried thing here in a moment, but it's like,
And let's also not forget, like, they could literally, have this Max Fried deal and then end up signing Bregman and end up
sure.
getting Garrett Crochet, and then it's like, oh, well, all right, never mind.
Sure, and we'll move into a Yankee conversation here in a moment, but what I want to say is like with Garrett Cole, if you're an out, and I've said this on the show in past weeks, if you're an alpha pitcher, if you're a Max Scherzer, a guy that pumps his chest, a Papelbon, a Carlos Zambrano type guy, of like these larger than life characters, you can't coexist with Garrett Cole. If you're a starting pitcher that's an alpha male, you really want to go to the Yankees? They already got their alpha male, and they designated him as the alpha male.
I guess Max Fried said, yeah.
He's not an alpha male. Not that being an alpha male is important. That's not what I mean. But it's like you're not going to attract those guys because the Yankees have decided this is how we do things.
I mean, he is very much like a piece of the puzzle. He's a great pitcher.
Great.
But, it's like, yeah, but pair him with a Spencer Strider, a Charlie Morton, not so much this year, but, Chris Sale.
Roberto Lopez.
Yeah.
Just whatever was on the team. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that. Let's look at the Yankees and what they've done. Max Fried signs a giant deal. Is this enough? Like, where do they go from here? Let's stick with that hot corner today, the Fan.
The definitive podcast for Oregon Ducks football. This is the Hot Corner with Harrison Fisher on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
Fair or Foul comes up here in about 15 minutes. Joe's all riled up right now. I'm enjoying it. For just reasons.
I get spicy sometimes.
He gets a little spicy,
get a little feisty.
I'm okay with that. Makes me happy. It's what happened, dude. We've been together for what, 10 years? And there's no holding back with us. I think we're pretty honest with each other at all times.
Yes.
Fortunately, we like each other.
Yes.
So there's no like secret I hate Joe Fisher.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be doing this show. I don't think we'd be.
Speaking of nobody cares.
Giving up our Wednesday/Tuesday nights to do the show if we didn't like each other.
Yeah, that's the truth. All right, like I said, we got Fair or Foul coming up in about 10 minutes. But to cap kind of this Juan Soto situation that's kind of dominated our show today, which is totally fine because it is the story. It feels very reactionary and not anticipatory of the New York Yankees as they have signed Max Fried to an 8-year, $218 million contract. Joe, I'll ask you straight up. Does this feel like we're out on Soto, so go get someone right now? Or was this just kind of the natural progression? Because it felt like Fried had Yankee Red Sox written all over him. He was never going to be a Met. He was not going to be a Dodger despite being an LA kid.
Yeah, I think that you're probably right on that, where it was like,
Yankees are getting trashed in the headlines. Let's at least get something out there.
Yeah, and there's part of me, too, where it's just like, I understand if you're the Yankees, like, our number one priority is to get Soto back. But you can't time that out.
No, you can't.
So they, I guess, got fortunate where, like, maybe they knew Max was maybe waiting on them and waiting on that to happen before.
They knew that their priorities were somewhere else.
And I don't know who Max Fried's agent is. Maybe it's Scott Boras. I mean, I don't know, but
it's me. It's me. Big jump.
What are you doing
Congrats
here,
on that
bud?
2%.
I was gonna say,
Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate
why
it.
are you here?
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you are now the owner of 1080 The Fan. You are 1080 The Fan.
Where is it?
Come
Where
on.
is it? I don't know where it is.
Bastard. But yeah, I mean,
tried to color coordinate it, but I could never find it.
I think the Yankees.
I am 1080 The Fan. There it is.
I think that was one of those, like, once they were out on Soto, then it was like, all right, Max, what were some of the offers you're getting? That? Okay, cool. We can afford that and then some now.
It's like you're hitting on a chick at the bar that you've never met, but you're like, friends with benefits is over there. Then you go back and you're like, sorry, babe, what were you talking about?
Yeah, like, hey, so
I had to go to the bathroom. Sorry, I missed it. What were you saying?
Yeah, but we're good, right?
Max Fried, 8-year, $218 million. It is the largest deal for a left-handed pitcher ever, the fourth largest among all pitchers in history. So let's be real here. A rotation right now, I don't care that Carlos Rodon is on the books for how much money he makes. Right now, your best three pitchers are Garrett Cole, Max Fried, and Luis Gil. That ain't bad.
That's a good three.
That's a nice three, especially I spent all year talking about this Yankee team had terrible pitching. Now, the bullpen came on late, but, one of the good guys is now Met. But I think this is more of what the Yankees need to be focused on. Now, their offense has a lot of problems. Outside of Judge, Austin Wells, everybody else is gone. Rizzo ain't coming back. Torres is gone.
Is Torres a free agent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he might come back, but we'll see. So, but I thought the pitching staff was a major hole. And right now, your three starters are Garrett Cole, a 2-time Cy Young winner, Max Fried, who's been one of my favorite pitchers in baseball over the last 3, 4, 5 years, and Luis Gil, who's the Rookie of the Year. You got to feel pretty good about that start.
You do. But you said the key word there, the start. It's about, for at least New York, how you finish. And you lost Clay Holmes, which, regardless of what you want to say about the blown saves and anything, decent closer, decent
good arm,
bullpen
a good
guy. You gonna have Luke Weaver be your closer for the full season?
Probably, yeah.
That's what you're rolling with?
That's what you're rolling with.
All right. All right. Best of luck to you. I mean, it was cool until it wasn't.
Yeah, and then I think you really hope Jason Dominguez becomes
What
the
he's supposed to be.
superstar he's supposed to be.
I mean, do they go after someone for their bullpen, some reinforcements? I mean,
Yeah, I feel like you can piece together bullpens. I think people have found that you can find guys.
yeah, it's not like we need to go give a big contract to a middle reliever.
You don't got to go get Josh Hader.
Yeah.
You know, you can make this work. But who's going to play first? Who's playing second? Who's playing short? Who's playing third? Who's playing left? Who's playing right?
They'll have what's his nuts Volpe playing short.
Oh yeah, they got Volpe at short.
But hopefully they can he can give them a full season of hitting well versus like just the first half.
They got Volpe at short.
I'll trade for Nolan Arenado. He wants to play first.
I just read that the Yankees aren't interested in that contract.
That's funny. Well, too bad, because who else are you going to go get?
Volpe at short, Judge at center, Wells at catcher, and Stanton at the DH. That's all you got. But you got 3 starters. Maybe the Yanks decide that they want to play this old school National League. You know, heavy pitching, situational hitting. You need a better manager if you're going to do that. You need like a Terry Francona or a Bruce Bochy if you're going to do that. Bob Melvin.
To get back to the starters, though, that is a solid 3-man
really
rotation
nice 1, 2, 3.
that is going to keep you in contention for the playoffs all year long.
And I love Max Fried. I do not want Max Fried signing for the Yankees, making people think all of a sudden that Max Fried is not good. Max Fried is fantastic. Is he worth is he worth 8 years and 218? I don't know about that. But he's not making $30 million a year. It's just 27 and a half.
There was reports also from John Morosi and ESPN's Alden Gonzalez that they'd be looking to try and poach AJ Minter from the Braves as well.
I mean, he's a great reliever
to help with the bullpen issues.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
The Max Fried signing does suck for the Braves, by the way, too.
It's a huge punch to them.
Yeah, haven't really talked about if they're lacking now, what are they going to go do?
Yeah, I mean, they're now going to bank on Chris Sale being good again. We were shocked he was average this year, let alone Cy Young.
Well, they'll get
and Strider will be back.
Yeah, that's true.
And then hopefully Reynaldo Lopez can replicate what he did this year as well.
Charlie Morton is 3 years older than me. Just saying.
I was going to say that's going to run out
ageless
here at
wonder.
some point. I mean,
yeah. and honestly, Fried and Soto, the losers in Fried and Soto, sans the Yankees, is the National League East. The Braves are like, damn it. And the Phillies are like, does anybody want Alec Bohm? Yeah, we'll take Alec Bohm. We'd like your best pitcher.
Yeah, exactly.
Kick rocks.
They asked for the Mariners' 2 best pitchers for Alec Bohm.
Kick rocks.
Good Lord.
Kick rocks. And Castellanos is on the block now.
It also looks like a report from The Athletic says that the Yankees are, one of at least 10 teams contacting the Brewers about Devin Williams' availability. So, I mean,
cool. Yeah, the Brewers are gonna trade Devin Williams, but okay, cool.
I mean, okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good player.
I like
Devin
Williams. Is gonna cost too much.
Well, again, I don't know what his contract is in
I mean,
trade.
in trade.
Giving up.
Because he's a high-leverage guy.
Yeah. I know. It seems like...
Go look at the Royals. That bullpen was pretty good this year.
Well, it seems like the Yankees...
Look at the Dodgers. They didn't have high-leverage guys.
Well, it just seems like the Yankees are like, hey, if we're going to be competitive this year, we need to do it with arms.
I think that's what they're thinking.
And so, let's take care of starting pitching, which we basically have now done with Max Fried.
Hey, man, look at my Cleveland team, dude. It's all arms for us.
Yep.
It's all arms for us and hope Jose Ramirez and Andres Jimenez. I mean, whoever plays second base for us.
That sucks.
It does suck. Yeah. All right, when we come back, that's enough of Juan Soto talk. When we come back, unless Schultze has some. We come back, we'll get into fair or foul, everybody's favorite. But first, there he is with sports.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, some good news for the Portland Trailblazers. They have cleared rookie center Donovan Clingan to return to full basketball activity. He has missed the last 2 weeks with a grade 2 MCL sprain, now listed as day-to-day. In NBA quarterfinal action for the Cup, you're looking at, right now, the Thunder leading the Mavs About 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in Oklahoma City. 107-92 right now. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going off for 37 points. Giannis actually scored 37 as well in the Bucks win over the Magic to advance to the Cup semis. 114-109 the final there. In college football, Oregon's Dan Lanning named one of 9 finalists for the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award. And in baseball, the New York Yankees signing starting pitcher Max Fried to an 8-year, $218 million contract. It's the largest contract ever given to a lefty. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Do it every morning. Dirt and Spray. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. Is it fair or is it foul?
Fastball tapped at the plate. It'll trickle down the third baseline. The Mariners are going to let it roll.
A knowledge test to see how well they know the big leagues.
Lenny Randle gets down on his hands and knees and blows on it like a curler, and it goes foul.
And what our distinguished hosts think about the stories that popped up around the big leagues.
But he got down on his hands and knees and literally blew the ball across the foul line.
This is Fair or Foul on the Hot Corner on 1080 The Fan.
I swear to God, that'll stop your heart!
Sometimes in life, you really take it on the face, and it just comes at you day after day after day.
I am 1080 The Fan. All right, this is Fair or Foul. We do it every single Tuesday at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. Without further ado, we turn it over to my favorite person in the world, Jordan Luigi Schultz III.
Somebody that's not taking it day to day on the face would be the Toronto Blue Jays, because they seem to get up after their second major rejection in 2 years and then go get a second baseman. So I like that.
3-time All-Star
Yeah.
second baseman.
Only 24 years old.
Only because there are no good second basemen in the American League.
Was that his second Gold Glove?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, 3-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner.
Corner piece package for old Frankie Lindor.
Absolutely. And actually, he is the subject of my
And
first
Eddie Rosario.
question. Oh, God. In fair or foul.
Or Ahmed Rosario. My bad.
Guys, Andres Jimenez, of course, heading north of the border to Toronto, swapping with Cleveland. Actually, Nick Sandlin going to Cleveland, or from Cleveland to Toronto as well. But Spencer Horwitz, Nick Mitchell, a minor league outfielder, as well as a couple other minor leaguers, and then Luis Ortiz headed to the Blue Jays. Basically, Horwitz and Ortiz are the only major league pieces that are going to the Guardians, not to the Blue
Horowitz
Jays.
got sent to
Cleveland.
Pittsburgh.
Yes, yeah, it was like a three.
And now Ortiz is coming to Cleveland.
Exactly. So there's a weird 3-team deal
I'm cool with Ortiz.
going on in here. Hey, Ortiz is good, but guys, I really look at this price package and I'm just thinking, especially compared to the Alec Bomask of 2 starting pitchers of elite status for the Phillies, it's not enough. So fair or foul, guys, the price for Andres Jimenez was way too low.
I'll start.
Go for it.
Yeah, I say foul.
Really? Okay.
Or excuse me, fair. I think it was
too low.
Yes,
Gotcha.
I think so. I mean, multi-time All-Star, multi-time Gold Glover. I mean, we saw what he, how important he was to the infield in that series against the Yankees.
Except for game 1 and 2.
Yeah, but let's forget.
But
about
game
that.
3, 4, and 5, he was great. He was absolutely fantastic.
He kept him in it. Damn
I
it.
love him to death. That play through the gap,
Yeah.
he's great.
Yeah, I think this was not enough. I think shoring up your infield is extremely important, and I guess the Blue Jays are going to keep Bo Bichette over at short with him. I mean,
Yes.
I
I
don't know.
think you have to at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's what you're going to roll with. But yeah, I feel like the package for it was a little too low, especially for what he's proven, how young he is as well. Like, he was probably going to be a corner piece for this Blue Jays for the next few years. So unless he just starts hitting like 160 for the next 3 seasons, but I don't see that happening.
I will say foul. I think this was totally fine. I think Jimenez is an above, top tier defender, especially at his position. But he doesn't add a ton for offense, and so when you look at where Cleveland is and when you look at where Toronto is, this seems like a pretty even trade. It's a salary dump for Cleveland, big time. Also, Jimenez is the kind of player that you want on the Dodgers, who are going for a World Series. He's the kind of player that the Mets want at second base. For Cleveland, your best player can't be Andres Jimenez. It just can't. And outside of Jose, that's kind of the guy that's been there, because the Naylor boys are whatever, but Jimenez was always the solid. I think this is fine. What I love about it is getting Ortiz from the Pirates, and who had shown signs of light, and Cleveland is very, very good with pitching, especially young starters, that I think they got a good value for Jimenez. Now, to Joe's point, yeah, I mean, he's a 3-time All-Star,
Actually, and I got a
2-time Gold Glove.
I got to correct this: 1-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove.
Thank you. 1-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove. You got a great player there, but I also think a lot of that has to do with, I don't mean to poo-poo on you on your way out the door, but who's the best second baseman in the American League? Anybody? Anybody? Who you got?
Jackson Holiday.
He doesn't play.
He's
in AAA.
Anthony
No,
Rendon.
he did
Just
not.
kidding.
Anthony Rendon's at third.
Get out
He
of
don't
here.
play either.
Yeah, Anthony Rendon's dead.
So I mean, again, I don't want to shite all over Jimenez because I love the dude.
Boy, that's close.
Is it close? But I also think I think he's overvalued because of the lack of depth at that position in the league.
I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, well,
All
nobody's
right.
listening anyway.
Moving on.
Jose Altuve, by the way,
Yeah, he's probably the best in the AL.
Cheater.
still plays baseball.
Cheater.
Yeah, still
Cheater.
plays for the cheating Astros.
I
too,
heard
speaking
Bregman
of
wants to
cheaters.
play with Alex Cora. Weird.
Yeah, shocking. Bunch
Weird.
of jerks. That is why. That is a big reason why I don't want him in a Mariners uniform ever. Of course, he still wants to play with Alex Cora. Okay, guys, fair or foul? We've been talking a lot about the Juan Soto 15 years, $765 million, plus a sweet deal to the New York Mets. A lot of long contracts in the last 20 years being handed out as compared to years before in baseball. 10-year deals, 11-year deals, 12-year deals. Julio Rodriguez signed a possible 13-year deal. Now this 15-year deal, the longest ever. Fair or foul, guys? There will be a 20-year contract handed out in Major League Baseball at some point. Fair or foul?
A 20-year.
Interesting.
Hey, I never thought we'd go 15, so F it. Let's go 20.
I mean, if Shohei shows up at 19, do you just go, here's the bag, dude?
Well, again, like that would have to be like a 19-year-old. But again, like the way that arbitration works, there's like 3 years of arbitration.
Yeah, but what if you're like so good at 21 that you just say, or at 24 and you say, screw it, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
At
lean foul on
38,
this one.
there is a rider in this contract that says at 38, we choose your nutritionist, your PT, everything.
I think. I mean, I want it to happen just for the sake of how ridiculous that is. I
Be
mean,
great for this stupid ass show.
Right?
A 20-year deal. Oh my God.
I'm with Cho. I will say foul. Please don't. Good God.
Please do. I hope I'm wrong.
The craziness.
Because
Oh my
I'm
God.
the yo-yo man.
Did you imagine? I mean, the Mariners gave Evan White, what, $17 million, $18 million before he'd spent a day in the major leagues? So
What's the? I mean, is the Soto contract? Did that also break like the longest contract in
Bryce
sports
signed
history?
a 15-year deal.
Was it?
Or was his
I thought
13?
his was 12 or 13 because I just look. All right, I'm going to do this again. The longest.
Trout's long as well.
Well, again, to reference golfers in the Saudi, I mean, that's basically a lifetime contract. You're dead if you don't honor that.
Yeah, list of largest contracts. At this point, guys, it was like 12 years, maybe 13 because Julio's is, a series of options and exercising. and all that kind of
Tatis has
stuff.
14 years with San Diego.
Okay. There we go,
Yoshi
yeah,
is
Fernando.
12. Julio's 13. Will Smith is 10.
Yeah, this is it.
I swear.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt's 11. Tatis
Mm-hmm.
14. Shohei 10. Machado 11. Devers 11.
Well, I'm even talking like
Bogey 11.
you know,
Trey 11. Mookie 12.
like you would know this, Patrick. Like
Bryce was 13 years.
like international
So was
soccer.
Giancarlo.
Like, has there ever been like what did Freddie Adu sign for? How many?
No,
too
no.
much.
Nobody in international soccer is that long. It's like 5 years at the most.
Because of all the transfers and whatnot.
Yeah,
There's-
yeah.
just
You don't want to be.
Well,
you don't want to be.
commit to dudes.
Well, it's 5
No,
years.
A lot of dudes are making $400,000 a week.
It's like $100 million a year.
Yeah.
So you can't do
Yeah,
more of
you
a
can't.
couple
And
years
and the
like
decline is so fast.
oh yeah, Magic Johnson's contract was a 25-year contract.
Oh, really?
1981, Lakers owner Jerry Buss signed Magic Johnson to a 25-year contract worth $25 million. I remember that. Yeah,
It's actually an underpay for that time, I
I
think.
mean, he almost did the whole thing.
I recall because it was $1 million a year for that contract. Yeah.
Yeah, that honestly, in the history of sports, that might be one of the smartest deals of all time.
In 1977, the Cleveland Indians signed Wayne Garland to 10 years, $2.3 mil.
Okay.
Shea Weber of the Nashville Predators got a 14-year deal back in 2012, but
There have been
obviously-
some long hockey.
The
ones.
most famous deal that offseason of Wayne Garland was Reggie Jackson to the Yankees. 5 years, $3 million.
How about this? I didn't know this one. Chris Webber, 15-year deal when he got drafted.
Yes, I knew that.
15
and
years,
totally forgot about it.
74.4 for the Warriors in 1993.
And then they traded him like 5 years later,
To Sacramento, right up
where he
there.
had the best part of his career.
Did he go somewhere in between
No, I'm
Golden
pretty
State
No,
sure
he
and
went to
Sacramento?
Philly
Gold.
after Sacramento.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure he's Golden State and then Sacramento. I loved Weber on Sacramento.
Me too, yeah.
Deja.
Yeah, that Kings team that
AK
should have gone to the NBA Finals.
AK-47,
White chocolate, Jason Williams.
Vladi.
Bobby Jackson.
What just happened with the
Vlade
show?
Divac.
I'm sorry, I do.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I can spend the whole segment talking about the
Peja
longest contracts in
Stojakovic.
history.
I thought those guys were going to beat the Lakers, and they didn't.
Well, the referees had something to do with that. Credit Tim Donaghy. All right, guys, and actually he wasn't even reffing in that game, so don't credit Tim Donaghy. Fair or foul? The New York Mets will regret the Juan Soto contract in 2040. Of course, 15 years long, a lot of money.
I'm going to text you guys in 2040 and be like, I was right on that fair or foul.
I just hope I'm alive
Well,
in 2040.
hear me out. I mean, ditto, but hear me out on this. So the Dodgers in year one of the Shohei Ohtani deal, we've
Worth
heard,
it.
yeah, many times over they made that money back. They made something like 90+ million off of Shohei's 60, and that's not even real because they deferred some of his salary, so it's a lot less. Juan Soto can obviously bring those types of amounts back to you, but how do you measure success? Is it one World Series in 15 years? Is it 5? You know, is it a playoff appearance every single season? Like, it's a lot to consider here. So fair or foul, they will regret it in 2040.
I think what's interesting, you just mentioned it. Kansas City Royals won a World Series in 2015. Okay, we're going to be in the 10-year anniversary of the Royals winning a World Series. If you're a Royal fan, paging Isaac Robb, my good buddy Isaac Robb, he says, hell yeah, brother. It's worth it. We got one. If you're the Mets and you get one in the next 15 years, that ain't worth it. So let me ask the question. With how much money Soto's getting paid right now and seeing a guy like Fried go to the Yankees, and it sounds like they're going to be probably out on Burns, can they get Bueller on the cheap, but is Bueller worth it? Can they get Flaherty on the cheap, but is Flaherty worth it? How many World Series do you think the Mets are going to win in the next 4 years?
4?
Yeah.
0.
I was going to say, I was like,
I think the answer,
my gut says 0.
The Vegas is 0.5. And I'm probably taking the under.
Yeah.
So if that's the case in the next 4 years, sure, okay, now you're halfway through Shohei. Because that's going to be the thing. Like, it's now Soto versus Shohei.
Yeah,
That's what it is now.
You got a Dodger problem for the next
You got a
10
Dodger problem for the next 10 years. And Shohei's got one. And he wants more. Shohei wants to be the best player in baseball. Mookie Betts wants to just be the guy that's like secretly the best player in baseball. It's like Ruth and Garrick.
I think that Mets fans who have gone nearly, almost 40 years without a World Series.
86.
Oh, boo-hoo.
I think that it will be worth it just to get one. I
Yeah.
think that they are in a sense of
If Steve
desperation.
Cohen lifts one, he says yes.
It was worth
It's like
it.
a Cuban in Dallas.
I think
It's
so.
like I got mine.
I don't think it has to be 2.
Just got to be one.
Now, granted, it's funny. It's like, what if they win it like next year and then they don't win any more for the next 14 years
Yeah,
after
see, that's
that?
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's like-
it's 750 mil worth.
Does it matter when they get that one? I don't know. I think as long as they get one. I mean, if they were to win one next year and not win one for the rest of Soto's contract, I think they'd still be happy with it. So
That's all I got for you guys.
I just want to win one. We haven't won one since Jackie Robinson was a sophomore in the league.
I want any of my sports teams to win ever at all, just once.
Hey, you got a shot.
Yeah, we
coming
do have
up,
a shot,
buddy.
Joe.
Yeah, I know. Just
Timber's looking good next year, dude.
don't.
Mariners haven't even been there either. So y'all
need
go 40 years ago. We
I
won
need
a
to
World
become
Series.
more emotionally invested in Liverpool because I feel like that's the only chance of that happening.
Oh, baby, we're gonna win the league this year.
I think so.
we might win Champions League.
From what
too.
I see when I do my Google searches, things are looking good.
Oh, things look great. All right, that is Fair or Foul. We do it every single Tuesday, bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. When we come back, we'll wrap this bad boy up. 1080, The Fan.
Got a smart speaker?
It's just us
Season. This is the Hot Corner with Harrison Fisher on 1080 The Fan.
It's over! We think.
Joe and I were listening to a little Pilots basketball over on 910. Swigard.
I had to run to one of
Child
the
Center
other
tonight, right?
studios, and I don't know, honestly. And Will Ortner is producing the game, and I just hear from that studio, Swigard and whoever's doing the color with him.
They're playing the
color commenting.
UMKC Kangaroos.
Something happened.
They're down by 1 with 2 minutes left.
Something happened where Swigard and his color analyst were very excited, making sounds that I feel like should only be made in the bedroom. I said to Will, I was like, did I just hear someone live on air like
doesn't have a huge load either.
Enjoy themselves?
Nom nom nom.
Which Will's said 2 men.
It's hard to get down the throat.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
I just get off at weird times.
I'm going to have to go through the logger and maybe find that because, yeah.
That's a lot of time spending on your knees.
It reminded me of the Roof Daddy clip a little bit, of the hockey Roof Daddy that you hear so much on Dirt and Sprague.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was something, man. Again, I hope it was as good as the clip is as good as it sounded from the other studio, because I was like, oh my God.
The University of Missouri Kansas City Kangaroos.
Wow.
Are currently up on the Pilots. You can catch that over on 910. There's less than 2 minutes.
Who knew that Kansas City was known for their kangaroos?
Yeah. Funny story, though. On the 28th of December, I'm taking the fam to Wazoo at the Child Center.
Yeah.
Because we're in the WCC this year.
You know, I was looking at Ducks basketball schedule. I might have to maybe go catch them against the Boilermakers, perhaps.
Why not, dude?
Indiana's not top 25, but the idea of seeing the Hoosiers in Eugene in a conference matchup, I thought that was pretty cool. That's happening in March. It's different times, but I'm here for it. I'm here to get weird.
I love it. Joe, congratulations on your alma mater being the #1 seed in the playoff. Yes, long story short, you did get hosed on your path, but hey.
Win,
you gotta
baby.
Win natties, you got to win.
Just win, baby.
No natty.
As Dan said and the players said, put the ball out in the parking lot. We'll play.
Roll it out. It doesn't roll evenly. All right, that'll do it for us. For Joe Fisher, I'm Patrick Harris Schultze on the ones and twos. Go do something I would do.
Have a special somebody on your shopping list that loves to golf? Then you'll love Red Tail Golf Center.